Now, quickly to deal with these two issues of demonstration, demonstration over new voters register, and also the EC's announcement that the register is actually being handed to IT experts to deal with. So is that the end of that debate? That's the question I'm asking. Now, I start with Kuku on this one as well. Kuku, you are aware that the Let My Vote Count Alliance, after their very first demonstration, which was marred with the brutalities that was visited on them by police. Of course, the police explained that they used graduated force in trying to stop lawlessness in the process. I'm still waiting to have the police show us evidence of the abuse on them. Maybe they will put that in court because they are putting some of those people before the court. Now, after that, the police went to court and sought to place an injunction on the process on the 29th demonstration. That injunction, the Let My Vote Count Alliance went to the court also to ask to be heard and say that they couldn't stop the second process. They went to court on the 28th, and the judge announced to them that you don't even have to be in the court because the injunction the police took is an ex parte injunction. It lasts only for 10 days. It expires today, so it doesn't catch your demonstration tomorrow, the 29th. They go out jubilating and announcing that they are going on demonstration tomorrow, only to be slapped with another order from another court, but same circuit court, not same judge, restraining them the next day.
It appears we are in a season of ex parte injunctions. I've seen, back to your point, I've seen a certain video, then Metro TV played it, and I requested for a copy. So I've watched it. That's police video evidence of what they claim to be stone throwing by some sections of the demonstrators. It was pathetic and laughable. And I pray that the police does not ever put that before a court of competent jurisdiction for examination of truth. It will be an embarrassment of the highest order. You see something, a stone throw somewhere, then you see a red arrow they have made pointing to the stone. Then there's another one there, then you see another red arrow pointing to it. You don't see the human being throwing it, but you see a stone drop somewhere, and then there's a red arrow they have drawn that shows you the stone is there.
In criminal trials, you don't reveal your arsenal.
Pathetic. It was laughable. Mistressa. And I really sincerely pray that that is not brought before a court of competent jurisdiction. It will turn into shreds. But
they have put, is it 14 of the organizers?
Somebody told me they had redrawn. So double check.
Okay.
They are let your people double check because I heard somewhere. I haven't read it.
I understand they've withdrawn it.
Interesting. Good for them. But clearly, and we've said this over and over again, there's an outright abuse of the court processes as well as the Public Order Act by the police. We should be very blunt in making this assertion. I've heard you. Now you are playing the host, so I think you are restraining yourself. But I learned a lot from the legal expositions that you made, and I'm in total agreement with them. They even didn't go back to the same court. They could have.
The judge said they could come back, but when they are coming, they should come to that court with notice.
And then they went Nicodemously to another court and got the injunction. And I've been asking, in fact, I've been reading on the Facebook and other threads, and I've been checking my own records, whether even the magistrate court and the circuit court are the appropriate fora for them to be going seeking these things. It's looking as if
raising an issue.
Yeah, it's looking as if there is a problem there. The one the police sought against the CJA in 2007, I know they went to the High Court, and it was Justice Bafo Boni, then Court of Appeal judge, who sat as an additional High Court judge on that matter. So we should be even looking at that aspect as well. But bottom line, It's an outright violation of the court processes as well as the Public Order Act. And I am with those who want us to go back to the Supreme Court and take another look at this whole prior restraint element that the police appear to be imposing on the right to free assembly and demonstration.
But the police gave reasons for not wanting the demonstration to occur.
I wish they hadn't done that. Police intelligence is suspect. They claim, I'm told here, that they told OKFM that they had picked up intelligence to the effect that the demonstrators wanted to go to the EC premises and destroy properties. I recall this same kind of intelligence was put out in 2007 against the CJA. It was to the effect that they had information that some counter groups wanted to organize counter demonstrations. If you have intelligence that some groups want to organize counter demo, that means you know them. What actions do you take? The counter demonstrators were those who were going to violate the law. But you don't go to court with that intelligence and show some helplessness and hopelessness and use it as a basis not to get a demonstration effected. Don't forget, once upon a time, we discovered the coup d'etat plot on the internet. That was also during the Yabre demonstration. 1999, Yabre demonstration. When we were about to do those things, they suddenly discovered a coup plot on the internet. And a letter that was written, allegedly written to the IGP, asking the IGP to proceed on leave and to ensure that all roadblocks were removed. This was intelligence. So you see, when you do that, when you keep bringing intelligence out of such suspicious nature, in fact, they are suspect, you don't build confidence in that particular state institution. So for me, I think that we have reached a stage, and I say, look, the police by nature are conservatives. Their mindset, the public demonstrations, mass manifestations and things is not their comfort zone. It's universal. So if we are not careful, they will chip away progressively, gradually, slowly, the space that we have created for democratic participation in governance and other public activities. And that's why I'm in principle against what they are doing. All my instincts, apart from my intellect, put together, tell me that there is something wrong with the police conduct in recent years, and it must be checked.
Dr. Jampo, but here we are. When we are in trouble, this is the police we fall on. I mean, they are supposed to ensure law and order. And if they, by their intelligence, feel that you are going to undertake an exercise that will jeopardize your own, peace and security, they should have the right to go to court and ask that process, be stopped or postponed.
I don't think so. We should be realistic and appreciate the fact that the right to demonstrate is inalienable, in our democratic dispensation. And people go to the polls to elect leaders, and they are supposed to participate in politics and decision-making process in between elections. What we often see is that you have a majority of the people who would go queue, elect their leaders, and afterwards they go to sleep. You wouldn't hear from them again until the next election. In podcast, as we call it, departicipation. Now, one of the factors or mechanisms that checks departicipation is for that group of people to resort to strikes and demonstrations and petitions and all that when they think that there is something that is at stake and they want to be heard. And so they always have the right to demonstrate. And it is not it is not within the right of the police to determine who should go on demonstration and who shouldn't go on demonstration. So for me, trying to once again use due process and the law to thwart or to prevent people from assessing or exercising their right is not acceptable. And how long can you do that?
Yeah.
Good question.
That is the point, the question that must be asked.
Good question.
How long can you do that? Because if you don't take care, you may get to a time, you will go through the courts, get the injunction, and they will say, we will still go on demonstration.
If
so
they
my
have
point
other
is,
engagement, prior engagements, if they do not have sufficient men to be on the street to assist you, and like the police boss himself has said, logistics, if they are unable to organize them in good time enough, they should be able to tell you that, hold on.
But you see, over the years, it seems to me that anytime a group of people want to embark on demonstration, the police becomes a bit jittery. And it shows something. Why do you always want to go to court to prevent them from, what's the intention? Okay, so I always question the intention, that you are always jittery, and I see, but I think with professionalism, our police has come of age, and they have handled, mega demonstrations and other serious demonstrations that have gone on very well. And so you don't want a situation where you portray yourself as if you are always trying to thwart the effort of a group that wants to go on demonstration. I think we have grown as a democracy, even though we are still in a transitional status. We've come of age, and some of these things, I think they can resort to dialogue. They can use jaw with those who are trying to organize demonstration and ensure that, yes, they would have their right to demonstrate, whilst at the same time not violating the rights of others. So I think they cannot, that action of always trying to go on surreptitious move to thwart efforts of those who want to demonstrate cannot be sustained.
Very interesting comments there. Yeah. And I'm bringing Rodling in here, but I want to read a portion of some statement that was made by Professor Ken Atefa, and you know him. He's a criminologist and lawyer. In fact, he's the acting dean of the law faculty at there's this new university, forgetting where exactly. I'll get it correct and put that one out as well. Forgive me, Prof. I know he won't forgive me for this. Central University College. He's the dean of the faculty of law at that place. And what he says, I want to put it in a certain context. It is true that the police may have committed some excesses. They may have done some wrong. But are we not in the process seeking to bastardize them in a way that we may even put a bit of, fear in them and restrain them in a manner that next time when they are supposed to act, thinking of all of that, they may not do what they must do to keep the peace. He says, if you ask the young police trainees or those who just passed out of the police training school, they will tell you how they are trained and the inhumane treatment they are subjected to, all calculated to make them wicked towards civilians rather than to serve and behave lawfully. He says policemen and women usually abuse their discretion because they do not know any better. They do not have a firm grip of the law. They are supposed to, of the law they are supposed to enforce. So they use brute force to stamp their authority. This is what we are heaping on them. There's also a member of Parliament for Nkoranza North, Major Retired Derek Odro, who, seek to give fuel to some of these comments and say that they are doing us more harm than good.
Yes, Samson, I quite agree with Atafwa on a few things. I think that for the first time I was asking if the horsewhip has become a conventional police crowd control weapon, for them to have used it on Ghanaians. I'm asking a few questions also as to why, when a young woman is running away from you, trying to take cover, you still have to chase that woman, brutalize that person.
You have breached the law, so they have to arrest you. That's why they are chasing you.
Yes, but you have breached the law. It doesn't give you the right to brutalize the person. But I saw people, at least I met a lady, and she was all bruised up with a stiff neck. And she told me, she said, Madam, I was running, and they still chased after me.
Somebody lost his eye.
Someone lost an eye and we were told that it was tomato paste or something, ketchup. All these things don't augur well for the police. The police were seen to be doing very well. We said they were visible, they were beginning to act professionally. But when it comes to crowd control, I think that we still have a problem with the police. With Kenatafa talking about their training, I tend to believe that their training is not enough. I think so. I think the training is not enough. And I don't know, maybe the curriculum also has to be changed and looked at. Because when you meet, especially the young ones that have come out, they're so, okay, they look smart. They're trying to show that they are professional in what they do. But they seem to enjoy inflicting pain. You see, and that is not policing. And I ask myself, if we as Ghanaians are saying that that is not what the police is supposed to do, the police is supposed to be a friend to the civilian, but we are arming them. And sometimes when I see a policeman holding a gun, I run. I run because I have this feeling that it can go off at any time. He shouldn't be holding a gun. I should see him holding a baton, a whistle, a walkie-talkie, not a gun, an AK-47 in town. I shouldn't see that.
The police have also been beaten by civilians.
Well, why should a policeman be beaten by a civilian? It's because the civilian has lost respect for that policeman. Why is it that when an army man comes out and says that, stop, everybody stops? If they say go to bed at 6, and when a policeman comes, you just say, you challenge the policeman. Why? It's because they have sold themselves so cheap that the Ghanaian, the ordinary person on the street, doesn't seem to have that respect.
Is it not rather that the army man, instills fear in you, and the police is trying to, catch up with that tactic?
No, the army man exudes respect. He comes to you, and you have that kind of fear that I have to give him the respect. The policeman comes to you. If you start collecting one city along the road, what do you expect? But all I'm saying is that we need to train our policemen more. We need to look at the curriculum and let them understand that they are no longer like a force, but they are a service. They're supposed to be looking after us. They're supposed to be taking care of us. So if anyone, it's a constitutional right for anyone to want to go out on a demonstration. So why do you always have to run to the courts to stop people from actually exercising their rights? And then at the end of it, you brutalize them. Apart from pepper, someone said the hot water that was used was really boiling water. So do you go out there, to stop the crowd by having because for me, what happened when they went for that crowd control was a premedicated issue. That was what I felt. I felt that they had decided that they were going to teach these politicians a lesson. And I'm a politician. I don't know when I'm going to be caught up in that kind of situation where they're going to use very hot water on me. And even when I'm on the ground, they will still be putting that hot water on me, where they're going to be spraying the pepper guns at innocent people. I think that the police, although we are saying that of late they're doing well, are beginning to play a game which is making us feel that some of them have got their own agendas.
Interesting. You wanted to make a point before I go to Nana.
Why whilst we condemn the police for using the law to sort of gag or prevent people from exercising their right to demonstrate, I think we also have to, again, talk about, as a nation, redefining the usage of the minimum force. I mean, they always talk about minimum force, and I think that if a crowd converges and they are doing something, you want to disperse them. After dispersing them, that should be it. But to the extent of following people and brutalizing them, I think all right. But the other point that I want to make is this: yes, the police may have done something untoward. They may have abused the process and all that. But as a nation, let us also ensure that we do not also do things that sort of generate unnecessary tension within the body politic. Why am I saying that? The first time, or the first group of people that asked for a new voters register, I believe, was the MPP. And I'm speaking now as a former member of the Electoral Reforms Committee. It was tabled before the committee, and a ruling was made to the effect that it's part of the EC's normal duties and mandate to to reviewing, and no, it's the register and all that in consultation with the political parties, and so the MPP should write formally to the EC, which the MPP did. And I am aware that the EC also responded to the call that had been made that, well, we'll have to meet other stakeholders and then convene a national stakeholders forum to brainstorm on the way forward. And so I thought if that was a posturing of the EC, then other demonstration calling for the same thing that the EC had positively or favorably responded to wasn't necessary and was going to create an unnecessary tension. And more importantly, I don't think Let My Vote Count group is an MPP group. And so I thought the MPP would have focused on its core mandate as opposition and allow this other group to also go on doing whatever they want to do, so that you don't politicize the whole thing and then it's like, well, they are against us, and so we also do everything to thwart their effort and all that. I think, in my view, it generates unnecessary tension. The EC has written to all the stakeholders and political parties communicating its intention that we're going to look at the demand for a new register vis-a-vis those who feel that the existing one should be pruned. And then after the workshop, we'll be able to come out with a firm conclusion as regarding the way to go. And I think that should be it. Let's not unnecessarily generate tension within the body politic in the lead up to 2016 elections. Yeah.
In pruning, are you going to be able to find out those that are not Ghanaians?
Well,
Interesting.
there are arguments.
Let's have Nana here, and then we can deal with
the two schools have
the register matter, which is linked to this. Yes, Let My Vote Count. They went to the court in the morning. The court said, you can go on. Then in the afternoon, they went and got this from the other place. My examination of the situation was that they knew that if they had gone back to that same Judge Sando, and they couldn't have gone back ex parte, and the judge would have thrown them out, because the judge clearly told them that you can come back, but on notice, and it was too late. Then they went to Judge Jennifer Myers Ahmed, and then, move a separate motion, also ex parte. When the law says if you have done it first, you are going the second time, you ought to be on notice. But you find that the one they moved before the other judge had actually been filed on the 26th, the Friday. So indeed, it ought to have been on notice and to the same court. Some say if a lawyer had done this, they would have been punished for unethical behavior. Okay. How do you punish the police?
No, thank you, Samson. Just my brother, I couldn't understand his point properly. How does demonstrations, street protests, how do they generate tension? They shouldn't. These are constitutional rights granted the citizen by the supreme law of the land. So
unfettered rights?
No, within rights. How does a street march generate tension? It is what happens. That's what generates tension. But otherwise, the principle of going to march on the street does not generate tension. And presenting a petition to the Electoral Commission does not exclude a party from embarking on other methods of expression. So I don't see what the point is.
They had done a first demonstration.
I'm saying
just that they couldn't present the petition. So why don't you just go there peacefully?
No, I'm not
and
talking
hand it over
of
to the EC?
I'm talking of his point about the NPP.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm linking it to the relevant issue here.
You want to have a
Let's
comment?
move on.
Yeah, my point is that if you have presented a petition and you've been communicated to that, look, we're going to look into it, and what's the point in demonstrating?
They had not presented a petition.
No, they had. No, I'm talking about the MPP.
Yeah, the MPP had. All the other parties were giving the 22nd.
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
talking specifically about the MPP.
I'm saying to you very clearly and simply, even if the NPP decides to embark on demonstrations, aside their petition, they are 100% within their rights. Because presenting a petition does not exclude. We can't sit on radio and talk about it. So if you stretch that opinion, it's like, oh, you've presented your petition, so why are you coming to sit on radio and talk about it? So,
but is it not orderly to expect that you would wait for the petition to be dealt with before?
Demonstrations are orderly, and they are provided for by the Constitution. So when you present a petition, it doesn't exclude you exercising other rights to,
yeah, but Nana, you know that you have a new chair of the EC. The EC itself is an institution, and it seems to me that the level of trust between the EC and the various stakeholders, particularly the political parties, has dwindled a little. And so, if you present a petition and you are a response is given that yes, we're going to look into it, and you go out of the way to organize, be part of a demonstration, in my view, it hurts the trust that we'll have to build going forward into 2016. And it is very important.
Well,
that
I'm saying that why should it hurt a trust? It should not, because demonstrations are normal processes for citizens to exercise their right to free expression, guaranteed by the Constitution. So they cannot be a problem. You see, look, we haven't just come from space. We've been in this country. There are issues before Parliament being debated. But yet you have members of Parliament taking part in the debate, articulating their views through street protests at the same time. In fact, some of them, they come straight from the demonstration, straight to the chamber to take part in the debate. Nobody raises an issue because they have the right to ventilate their issues on the streets, such that they have the right to ventilate their issues in Parliament. The same people, straight from the street, they come to Parliament to engage in the debate on the same matter. So to say that, it's taking something.
The examples do not match, but I think they do not match because I'm talking about a commission that is suffering from a kind of a trust deficit.
You have been in Parliament, and you still have the opportunity of being with the largest opposition to ensure that there is some pressure or some sort of policy to seek to change the law. The minority leader has said maybe that is where we should be looking, the Public Order Act, so that if the police wants to take a restraining order, they should only do so with notice to the other party. That's what is being advocated now. Do you agree to that?
No, 100% agree. That the right to organize a street protest is given by the Constitution. Then there's a law by Parliament to see how that can be operationalized. And it says that because it would involve things that may affect other people, you're going to march on the street, it may affect traffic, people may engage in looting and so on, so inform the police.
Give them notice,
yes,
5 days.
Yes, so they can provide the necessary security. But if in the course of time, over the period, we have found that that law by Parliament can be used by the police to prevent that basic right given by the Constitution, then of course we have to look at the law to make sure that the police is not able to come by that law to prevent citizens from exercising. Now this business of the whole let my vote count, there have been a lot of difficulties, and some of them have been expressed by my colleagues. I mean, this whole business of saying that the Electoral Commission is a security zone. I mean, who determines where a zone is of security importance?
Is
maybe
by law.
Yes, not by the police. So this business of the police suddenly deciding that this place is a security zone, so you cannot go there, it's a major difficulty. I mean, we've had demonstrations that have gone to the premises of Parliament and petitions presented to the Speaker and leadership of Parliament. We've had demonstrations that have gone to the premises of the Supreme Court and petitions presented. We've had demonstrations that have gone to the premises of the Flagstaff House and petitions presented. So all of a sudden you say EC is a security zone. It's difficult. In the year 2008, if I remember correctly, people went and picketed at the premises of the Electoral Commission for 3 days. The police exercised caution, said, well, they are there peacefully. They haven't thrown a stone, they haven't attacked anybody, so they can go there and assemble peacefully. And they did that for 3 days in 2008. So all of a sudden they say EC is difficult. And then this whole business about the S-party motion, where the police can go Nicodemously and then go and get an order without reference to the other party. I mean, this whole idea of a public order is to give effect to the constitutional right, not to thwart it. Now, so there's a court order that don't pass here and don't pass there. Some people break that order, let's assume so. The way the police reacted with the brutality, horse whips, hot water cannons, I'm saying my style here is saying that it's boiling water.
They say it is boiling water.
Rubber bullets and all of that. It's brought international shame to our country. You should listen to the report on BBC. You know,
the president has asked for some investigations to be done.
Yes, I'm coming to that. So basically, the behavior and the reaction of the police has been roundly condemned. Sometimes I hear a few itinerant NDC commentators trying to say that what the police did was right. But most people, apart from the police themselves, most people have condemned their reaction.
Have you heard NDC commentators like Ameto Kwame condemn it?
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, many of the other ones that I have heard, and I can mention it, they actually praised the police, and they said that people shouldn't have broken the law. Yeah. But the president himself has condemned the reaction of the police. Our only point of departure with the president is that his call for an investigation by the police, we feel, is totally misplaced. How can the police investigate itself? Especially when they themselves have come out to pass judgment on their conduct. They've come out to say that they acted properly and they should be praised for acting in the manner that they acted. So how are they going to...
Interesting.
Then it gets worse, something. This business about the circuit court thing. You are a lawyer, and I believe going forward, it's also something that we should be looking at. How an order by a circuit court in the morning can be countermanded by another, by the same parallel circuit courts. Something that you lawyers would have to look at.
Okay, but I think a bit of clarity there is that when the Let My People Vote, my Vote Count Alliance went to the Judge Sando's court in the morning, he told them, he didn't really make an order. He told them that, in fact, you didn't have to come back to me because they took an injunction for 10 days, ex parte. The 10 days, lapsed today. That injunction lapsed today. So the police's injunction does not affect what you are going to do, which is tomorrow. So please, you have the right to go ahead.
But should the police not have gone to the same court for the renewal or the extension?
The judge actually stated that, and that is the law.
Interesting.
That you come back to that judge, that same court, on notice the second time.
Interesting.
But often what we do by practice is that when you file the first one, and on the 9th day, sometimes that's how we do it. You don't wait for it to expire. On the 9th day or so, you file the one on notice. What the filing means is that somehow it is interpreted to mean the injunction is still in place until the one on notice has been heard. So if it is the case indeed that what they filed on the 26th, which went before a different judge, was really filed on the 26th, then it ought to have gone to that same judge. And it ought not to have been another ex parte, but one on notice.
Voila.
Okay, so you've made my case even better. And also to add to it something, the whole charade that was presented by the police, that they've received information about some armed robbery people coming to plan mass attacks in Accra. And they not only just told that to the courts, they actually deployed, they said because of that they could not provide protection for the demonstration. And the next day, they actually went ahead.
The day of the demonstration?
Yes. They actually went ahead to position personnel in many parts of the city, ostensibly because they must make good their report to the court that armed robbers are coming to invade. So they must be shown to be preparing for the armed robbers.
I'm aware of their presence only at the EC premises.
Oh, no. That's what you saw. I saw them in several places, driving from Spintex Road.
And they had their whips.
They get 20 people stand.
Okay, now let me bring in Kweku briefly and then let's move on to the next issue. Yes.
I think it's a very important conclusion. You see, whatever the police does in a country like Ghana, it has a reflection on the government. You see, there was a certain climate that made it possible for the police to allow demonstrators to actually invade the premises of the of the Electoral Commission for 3 days in 2008. So when the police act in this way, and you look at their previous behavior, so you ask, why have they changed their behavior this time? Are there external forces that is pushing them? Because what has the police got to lose if people are marching, calling for a new register? They have nothing to lose. It's the government that has come out openly against a new register. So when the police is allowed to act this way, it gives the impression that they are doing the bidding of government. And that impression is not good for any of us.
That's
Okay.
a very valid point.
Very interesting. Now, Kweku, briefly, and then we'll move on to the next issue.
Oh, on this?
Yeah, I thought that you had indicated, giving an indication that you wanted to say something briefly. That's why I came to you.
No.
If not, then...
The police,
yes.
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
If not, then we'll move on. We'll get to the thing about the IT aspects to the EC and what happens. But I thought that it will be instructive also. On this same issue, the Occupy Ghana issued a statement, and it's education for all of us. Number one, I see, for example, that when Nana says the police went to the places again as if they are laying siege or ambush for the people to come and then they would deal with them. Once again, there are problems with that. If a court has given an order and someone is seeking to abuse that order, the police don't have a right to say they are enforcing that order unless the court has asked them to enforce the order. If someone is doing that way, what you do is, I say, you gather the evidence of the breach of the order and cite them for contempt by the court. And that court that gave the order will punish them. It's right that they have to use minimum force in certain circumstances, but we need to follow the law. Occupy Ghana says it is extremely concerned about that practice where the police service easily obtains ex parte injunctions to stop demonstrations in Ghana, and the use of those one-sided injunctions as an excuse to brutalize persons who embark on demonstrations. It makes a point here that we are aware that under the law, all of the applications required by law to be made to a court must be made with notice to the affected party. Indeed, proceedings on ex parte basis, that is to say, the instance of one party only and without notice to the other person adversely interested, should be the exception and not the norm. That is why there are very strict rules regulating ex parte applications, so that the court should only entertain such applications subject to such undertakings that it considers just. They are actually quoting the law. And only where it is satisfied that a delay caused by the proceeding on notice, a delay caused by proceeding on notice would or might entail irreparable damage or serious mischief. Further, ex parte injunctions are not to be given for more than 10 days at a time, during which time the police must repeat the application, this time on notice to the other side, else the order will lapse. It is in the light of these strict conditions for obtaining ex parte injunctions that we are shocked at the current practice where the police routinely file and obtain such injunctions simply to stop or scuttle demonstrations and never follow up with the application on notice. Clearly, the Ghana Police Service is being mischievous in this regard, and we are also extremely concerned about the willingness of the court to grant such ex parte orders and then not sanction the police when it is so clear that the process and machinery of the court are being abused by the Ghana Police Service. The recent tussle, it refers to blah, blah. I'll just move on to one paragraph which is key to me. It said, yet comfortable in the ex parte injunctions, the police went ahead to brutalize demonstrators. I'm not interested in that part. It says that it is further shocking that after obtaining the injunction and consequently beating up fellow citizens, the police went to sleep and did not bother to repeat the application on notice, as is required by law. When the 10-day period given by the court expired, the court rightfully so held, giving the demonstrator the right to proceed on the demonstration. However, in a most brazen, shameless, and bald-faced abuse of the court process, the police, within hours of this court ruling, rushed back to court with yet another ex parte injunction application and had it placed before another judge. This time, the police abandoned the relocation argument, and suddenly the Electoral Commission was no longer a security zone. The police, deliberately failing to inform the new judge about the earlier ruling, now claimed that Ghana was about to be hit with a huge onslaught of banditry and robbery by suspected hardened criminals, which required a nationwide mapping up operation between 25th and 30th of September. To add spice to this tale, the police mentioned an alleged shooting of a police officer in Ho and chieftaincy dispute in Bolgatanga as somehow supporting this fantastic phantom claim. They got away with it, and the new judge granted yet another ex parte order, this time a postponement order, restraining the holding of the demonstration until October. We condemn these acts of the police in no uncertain terms. The time has come for the police to show to Ghanaians that it exists to serve all of us and not just to protect the interest of those in power. This clearly unconstitutional scuttling of a right guaranteed by the Constitution and reaffirmed by the Supreme Court ought to stop, and stop immediately. We do not need yet another Supreme Court pronouncement on these shenanigans and pranks engaged in by our police service. The top hierarchy of the police has to keep faith with the people of the country and abandon these clear unlawful acts. Further, our courts have to stand and protect our constitutional rights and resist this repeated abuse of its process and machinery as a tool of oppression of the citizens of the land, the ultimate repository of all power. So maybe that's some word to the police from the Occupy Ghana group. Thank you very much. We take a break, and I'm being informed that I need to take that break. When we return, we'll hear what the EC boss has to say about the voters register and hear my guest on whether or not we should abandon the demand for a new one. We'll be right back.